Sabiex tfakkar il-250 sena mitwaqqif tagħha, ir-Royal Academy of Arts f'Londra organizzat taħdita dwar l-ewwel żewġ nisa li kienu msieħba tagħha. L-isfida li kienu kbar iżda ma' żmien huma u akkademiċi oħra li ssieħbu fl-akkademja irnexxilhom isaħħu l-pożizzjoni tan-nisa fih dan din l-istituzzjoni.
The story with women artists at the Royal Academy is that there were two women painters among the founder members right back in 1768. But after that, they didn't elect any more women until the early 20th century. And so the talk will be looking at how come those two women were involved at the beginning and why they didn't then involve any more women until later on, and then how women came back into the Academy and how they've progressed over the last 100 years. The defining moments are probably the foundation in 1768, when there are two women involved, and then not until 1922, when a painter called Annie Swinnerton was elected as an associate member of the Royal Academy, and then 1936, when Dame Laura Knight became the first woman artist to be elected a full member of the Royal Academy of Arts. I do a lot of research about the history of the Royal Academy's collection and the history of the institution. And actually the story of women artists was something I'd ignored because I'm quite interested in the 19th century and there weren't any women for most of that period. But because of the 250th anniversary of the Academy last year, myself and other colleagues started looking at some of the lesser known aspects of the Academy's history, and this was one of them. And the more I looked into it, the more I found very interesting things and data. So that's how I've come to study this subject. In a way, the historical information is better known. There have been some studies of that. So what I was actually surprised about was how slow the progress was during the 20th century, because you tend to think of this date of 1936, when Dame Laura Knight is elected a full member of the Royal Academy, as a very defining moment. But then if you look at the data from then on, there were actually only 4 or 5 women elected in the next 10 to 20 years, and progress is really very slow. There weren't any women sculptors until the 1970s. It wasn't until the 1990s that a woman architect was elected a member of the Royal Academy. And it wasn't until 2011 that the Academy got its first female professors for the schools. So it's been really a very slow progress, but I think it's speeded up over the last 10 years, so the future's looking good. I think it's just important to be aware of this history because, again, I think there have been quite a lot of high-profile women artists who've been members of the Academy in the 20th century, and that gives the impression that they are an integral part of the institution. But once you start breaking down the data, you find things like there's never been a woman president, there was never a woman running the Royal Academy schools until 2011, and so I think it's really important to be aware of this and to try to promote women artists within the institution and to be mindful of the history that has preceded where we are now.